Save people. So you guys should be able to see me in there, red, orange, and yellow guy. So I normally make the joke if you're a bridal party that I'm the hottest thing inside the video right now. So sorry, fellas, it still works. But I make that point on purpose just because we're looking for blue and black. I want it either to move or to take shape. When I say take shape, I want head, shoulders, moving arms and legs. So again, that's what we've caught in the past with this particular guy, and that's hopefully what we're going to capture again. Does it capture something every single night? Not necessarily. But when we do capture something, it is a holy cow moment. I'm just going to put it out there like that. So we're going to do a few starts and stops with this guy simply because as great as the hardware is, the software sucks. The longer we record, the more, we're going to lose footage. So we don't want to do that. We want to capture as much as we possibly can while we're in the spaces. So there's also a blue dot bouncing around the screen. That is there to show you the coldest spot in the frame at that particular moment. I look for 15 plus degree temperature drops. It is 83 degrees out here ambient for us tonight. So I'm going to be looking for, what is that? 68 degrees and colder. So it might not be a full-blown blue anomaly in the frame. It might just be a blue dot that is not glass from a windshield, if you're getting my point. So again, I'm going to do a few starts and stops with this guy, or actually, Rob's going to be doing a few starts and stops with this guy.
Non-believer. Just sit.
What's Jenna doing over there? What you doing over there, babe?
Sometimes the lines turn red. I don't know why.
Did you ask him about anything yet? Am I just supposed to stand in this parking lot? it just this parking lot, or is that over there?
So they all see things in a much different filter. So this is picking up depth perception. The other one is obviously
Sitting on chairs.
So you probably just don't have enough shoots coming through it. Just a second. Do you have it on mute?
Yes, I'm in. It's gonna work. What was that flash?
He's a letter pops in.
It's like this.
A what? I ain't getting anything, dude. Yeah.
Should be in a haunted house or something. Yeah.
That's why I like never, saw that was interesting.
So every tour tells the same story. Here's how it goes. The doctor who's down here from Rhode Island, his name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. Those of you listening in on your spirit boxes, if you hear the song Brown Eyed Girl, it's not coincidence. It's part of his name. You get it here all the time, just so you know. But anyway, he moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents, and she has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash flow. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money, so he tells Amanda to get rid of the doctor. So Dr. Ladd moves to Charleston to prove that he's not after her cash. He's going to start his practice down here. So on his way into town, somebody set him up to be robbed and killed, his coachman. So somebody was walking by, and his name is Ralph Isaacs. I'm going to stop on Ralph for just a minute because Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. We are getting the letters RI all the time from our Red Spirit boxes, so I bought Lucas's device. I wanted to make sure we were getting the specific letters. And I will tell you that I've had that thing for about 6 months, and about 4 or 5 times we've already had it as I'm talking about Ralph. So you're looking literally for the initials RI in that order. So that's what's going on with your device. But anyway, Ralph tells this guy, he tells the doctor, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. You've got a gunman inside. Come with me to 59 Church Street. You can stay there with some friends of mine. They'll rent you a room and you'll be safe. The doctor took him up on the offer, and Ralph and the doctor became friends. The longer the doctor stays here in Charleston, the more money he's making, proving his point that he wasn't after Amanda's cash. So Amanda gets wind of this, and she's coming down so they can get married. Dr. Ladd then became known as the Whistling Doctor. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Every haunted city you're ever going to visit in the future is going to have a cliched whistling ghost. We all have one. Ours is a doctor. This is the way it goes. We're going to talk more about the whistle later on. Ralph and Dr. Ladd go see plays together. They cannot sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. That's the way the hierarchy works at Charleston. He gets better seats based on his salary. Anyway, they go see Richard III one night, and they're arguing over the new actress on their way home. They couldn't sit next to each other to discuss the new actress. Dr. Ladd thought she was great. Ralph didn't. So they start arguing. Then Lucas, you just scared the hell out of about 3
I
people.
know.
So anyway, the argument turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiance, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island, and they go their separate ways. You already know that Ralph has friends around town. He goes to his friends at the newspaper, puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of mentality. So, doctor saw the ad, rebutted with, let's go to Julo's Alley. Somebody's gonna die. So they came down, they took the 10 paces away from each other, they turned, the doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up for the fight, which is often what happens at a duel. However, Ralph has his one bullet in his flintlock, and he puts it in the kneecap of the doctor. Dr. Ladd doesn't die, but he drops to the ground, and his friends picked him up and took him home to 59 Church Street, where he died 10 days later, November 2nd of 1786, not 85. So that's where I told you I was looking for 86. He also refused medical treatment when he was in that 10-day period after he got shot. And you have to remember he refused medical treatment because he's a doctor. You have to remember in 1786, his gunshot wounds were a lot different back then than what they are now. He's probably just trying to bleed out the lead poisoning himself. So every ghost tour will tell you, listen how quiet it is, listen for the whistles, and they'll tell you to do it on your own. We have 3 cameras running right now, plus my voice recorder. If we're going to get a whistle, it's going to be on one of those 4 devices. It's always this quiet down here, unless there's many, many tour groups down here, which I'm surprised we have the whole alley to ourselves right now. So even on a busy Saturday afternoon, it sounds just like this, except when those air conditioners are running. So people will tell you to listen for those whistles. Those other accounts that people say that they heard gunshots down here from the dueling, I have no accounts of gunshots on any of my recordings ever of coming down here for the past 4 years. So I always, by the way, if you're going to try this on your own and you're going to come down and look for the whistles for yourself and using your voice recorder from your phone, just keep in mind every local knows the story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street is going to throw a whistle down the alley. We all do it. I do it every single morning when I'm going back to my car. We're going to let this pass through and then finish over the location is. So maybe not something else. Good evening.
Evening.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Not as hot as it has been, right?
No,
Cool
boy,
down a little
last
bit.
couple of nights were brutal.
Yeah. Ever since I got kicked out of here, I always throw a whistle. Let me show you how I got kicked out of here. For your ears, I'll be like, yeah, I want to know how I got in trouble. So, this alley didn't go all the way through this way. There was a wall halfway between us and Cumberland Street. The reason why is because this is where they kept the livestock for the city of Charleston. Well, I should say Charlestown. So it was called Cow Alley back then. That means the bricks on the other side, down by Queen Street, are older than the bricks we're standing on. Those bricks are sun-dried bricks from slave children. When I first started doing this, I used to take my groups all the way through here and show off the brick with a handprint there. It's right there in the middle of the alley, so right towards the end. But I will tell you that it was just a matter of history to show how far we've come away from slavery, not as a case for paranormal evidence. I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. That kid's not there. That's the last place you're going to find him. However, November 26th, 2020, my entire group of 10 is huddled around one brick, waiting for something to happen with the devices that I handed out. I'm trying to shoo them along because I know nothing's going to happen first off, but secondly, it's right outside the window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I'm just trying to be respectful. I didn't know I was out of bounds with tours. I was new at this. So the new owner came out and he's screaming. My daughter thought it was great because Dad's getting yelled at. She was on the tour that night. She was about 15 years old. So she thought it was great. But we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't know on Thanksgiving simply because I worked in retail management for over 20 years, mainly for Walmart. I am never working another Thanksgiving in my life. Next day is November 28th. The date's irrelevant. I'm getting to it. I get a hold of my partner that I had at the time and I told him what happened. And he's laughing. He's like, dude, you're only allowed to go down halfway. That's as far as we're allowed to go. Or you got to reroute the group. So I told my group that night we're going to reroute, but I never had anything happen at the next location. And I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. We're talking pirates and that. You should pick up on that. So before we left, somebody hears the name Anne on a spirit box. I did not tell them who we were going to be investigating. The famous female pirate Anne Bonny. So we have a lot of names in this group tonight that are actually relevant to our spaces. So Lucas, Bonnie, you guys are getting the point. But I was like, all right, maybe we have something going on. We go over to where we're going to be going, and I told a little bit about piracy that I did know because I didn't have much time to research. And somebody else here's a number 300 come out of their spirit box. I don't know what that means. I researched it the next morning for them. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy, November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trial. So you guys were kind of like giving me the head nod. That's pretty cool. I was pissed off. Let me tell you why. As a person with a master's degree in creative writing, I still need facts and data for what we're doing out here. So I like to have tangible evidence to make sure what I'm doing is legit. So I always take off because pirate stories are based off of pirate lore, and they're written 100 years after the fact when they actually occurred. Excuse me. So I was kind of a little upset. However, I've read more books on piracy than I ever want to do in my entire life, trying to make sure what was going to be doing at the location. So it is a hit or miss location. You're either going to have a lot going on or nothing. It's just the way the space goes. I'm also going to be looking for the evidence from this particular location. Kind of keep that in mind. Things will pop up that you won't know that I've withheld already. Secondly, you're going to learn a lot about pirates that you never knew before. That's the great thing about that particular location. So, anything that I need to know? I've seen you two whispering. Anything going on with your device that I need to know about?
Oh, I just
What's the one that says ask her? That's cool.
came through
Okay.
and then centralized, which I was like, oh, the wall.
We're right in the middle of the walls.
Yeah, and then I just got more injured, but I didn't catch anything.
You know, we're literally halfway point between where the wall was on the water to where it ended up on Main Street. Literally halfway. So centralize that lake and the way you by me. Remember to write this down. You were on mute. Did you hear anything or were you focused on me? Focused on me. Got it. Grace, what about you? Okay. Any other words on there? Jenna?
Nothing of
We didn't get the word cow? Cow. This used to be called Cow Alley. It normally shows up on your device.
record, chlorine, number, happily, ask her, and
What was the last one?
seek.
See. Yeah, a bunch of vague stuff, huh? Yeah, not a whole lot going on there. For those of you with video cameras, if you want to keep them running until we get to the next phase, it's completely up to you. Again, we're only going up and around the corner. We'll just stay out of the way of the other tours. Spirit boxes definitely keep it listening. But you guys ready to learn about some rated R pirates? Anybody got my bad dad joke? Good. Wow. You guys are like super attentive and then don't laugh at my jokes. I don't get it. So it's not spelled the same, so don't toot your own
Grace.
horn.
Get next to Lucas so I can
You
take
didn't
a
have
picture
to. I
of you
seen it on the
guys.
list. I already
Hey,
knew your name
Lucas.
before you showed up. I was excited when I seen both
Let
of
me
them.
take a picture of you guys, you and Grace, real quick.
My mother-in-law's name is Stefani. All right, let's do some rated R pirates, everybody. We got this. Don't forget the guy.
Hey, Lucas, let me take a picture of you guys real quick. Hey, Gracie, come here. I know, I'll get all three of them. Do that again, Lucas. With your little machine. Normal smile. All right, ready? Hey, baby, come here.
You need to maybe switch up with somebody else in your party. That'd be ridiculous. Yeah, always hold that one. Yeah. So, I mean, this is a place where the tours are going to pass by, so just don't record them. Not a big deal. All right, next, any letters coming out of you, Lucas, that I need to know about? And I'm looking for AB or MR. Nothing. Grace, anything? Gets me excited, everybody. Just so you guys know, like that fist bump in there. Like, so we are going to be discussing the gentleman who created the flag for the Jolly Roger. We get the name Roger here on purpose. So I'm pretty excited about that. So where the hell are we? Every tour that comes through here talks about the same building. By the way, video cameras, if you want to record, by all means do so. Rob's already on it. I'm sorry, Jenna. Any word or two that showed up that they need to know about? Yeah, too big for me. All right, so we're going to be discussing that little tiny building over there with the crosses on it. Those are not crosses, just so you guys know. Those are earthquake bolts. Earthquake bolts, if you're not familiar with those because you're not from here, they're turnbuckles. They go all the way through the roof, and in the event we have another earthquake like what we did in 1886, which we have not, then you can turn those turnbuckles. It tightens up the building so it doesn't incur any further damage. It's a great idea, but it just doesn't work, Chris. I'm sorry. I know you're nodding like, yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, it's bullshit. It doesn't work. You guys have seen them all over town in the shape of lion heads and pineapples. It's just part of the Charleston charm. Like, it's not really a thing. Even the apartment building behind the powder magazine, you see those peak bricks? Those are earthquake bolts. So that's what those actually are.
What are we looking at? What crosses?
They just don't work. Californians, when they're on the
That are
toilet,
painted
laugh
on
their
them?
asses off of builders on everything. But they're part of the reason why we're here. So there's earthquake bolts are the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston ever put in any building. Reason why? That's the oldest government building in South Carolina. So it was finished in 1713. I would have been more excited about your 13 if it was right here. So you go. That building was being constructed at the same time that Anne Bonny was coming here to start her new life, which is why we're here. It's what I call it familiar. You guys all watch the TV shows except for Jenna. They use that little Boo Bear buddy with the KT meter inside and talks to you. They do that with a child ghost because it's something the child would recognize as a toy. It's the same principle. So kind of keep that in mind. It's something Anne Bonny would recognize from the child. This is here. So no dawn is coming. So, okay. Let's kind of get into it. The building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? But anyway, our history begins right in the middle of it. Try to follow me on this one, guys. There's a lot of twists, and I will slow down on the twists. Remember, it's a female pirate, so kind of keep that in the back of your brain. And I will keep it PG-13, even though we have a bunch of 16-year-olds in the group. Yeah, female pirate. That's getting the point. Anyway, 1708, a young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormac. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Everybody with me so far? Okay. The three of them are running away from her father's angry wife. How pissed off was that wife that she booted them out of the country to come here when there's no airplanes? It was by boat, fellas. So be kind to your lady. They will pick you out of the country up to Canada. So, I only got one chuckle when I was in Jenna. But anyway, yeah, I do have jokes. I'm not wrong, I promise. But anyway, they land in Georgetown. Dad bought a plantation up there. That's between us and Myrtle Beach, in case you're up familiar with South Carolina. And Mom dies pretty quickly. That means Dad is now sending young Anne down to Charlestown to be able to sell things from that plantation to keep things afloat. So, hence the familiar building. Anne back home in Ireland was said to be a badass even back then. At the age of 7, 8, 9 years old, remember it's pirate lore, no number's ever going to be exact. They say that she killed a servant with a knife to the belly. I can't tell you how many times I've had servant, knife, and belly show up from 3 different people without the other 2 people knowing what was going on. Keep that in mind. Fast forward, the building's done in 1713. By 1715, pirates are starting to come through Charlestown. Anne is stoked. Why? She's going to fall in love so she can earn her freedom, just like a man. And I said first guy she falls in love with because simply she's going to fall in love with a lot of them. And we're going to cover them all because that's what makes the story so damn interesting. So that's why I'm going to keep it PG-13. First guy is James Bonny. I'm getting excited about some of the names that showed up here tonight, James. So we've got a lot of you guys. James Bonny is a filthy pirate and Dad does not approve. So they ran away to Jamaica, they got married. Anne Cormac is now Anne Bonny. That's where the pirate name comes from. However, when they get down there, James Bonny is not Captain Jack Sparrow like what she was hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer. He's a spy for the British. This is not who she wants. He's a coward. So a few more years go by and she falls in love again. This is John Rackham, but everybody calls him Calico Jack. This is the guy they based your Johnny Depp character off of, just so you guys are wondering who this guy was. He has his own crew. He has his own ship. Anne wants to be part of the crew because she wants to be a pirate, but you can't put a female on a pirate crew. Does anybody know why? Keep it family friendly with the teenagers in the room. What's that? It is bad luck. So I just make sure you guys are all paying attention. Because this can be a long one. She's like, oh, kudos, high five. But anyway, it is bad luck. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and look like my crew, you could be part of the crew. She's okay with this. The reason why, Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to hide her from his wife. So kind of keep that in mind. But she's going to be a female in his quarters. Most of us are adults here. We can understand what that's all going to mean. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a female. And he drops her off in Cuba before she starts to show. So go have the baby here, come back later, and we'll figure it out. She goes and has that baby in Cuba, but returns without a baby. We have no idea what happened to that child. But she also comes back dressed as a female, which makes Jack pretty angry at her. He's pretty pissed off. And while she was gone giving birth to his baby, he captured another pirate crew. They're down below deck. She's going to go flirting with that pirate crew because that's who Anne is. We're on guy number 3, in case you guys lost track. Chris, you're like so intrigued right now, I can't even take it, man. You're intense. MR. Just as I was about to talk about MR. So, guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a male, to be a pirate on the crew that Calico Jack just captured. Now we have 2 females, dressed like males, trying to be pirates. Her name, Mary Reed, which is why he's looking for MR coming up out of there. Praise, I'm about to bring it up. Can't make this stuff up, guys, I promise. But anyway, Mary Reed went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. Anne and Mary became friends, possibly lovers. We're not going to really know for sure. It's too long ago. But anyway, they become friends, but the British find out where they are. And they send a fleet of ships to come take down one pirate ship. The rumor is that Anne and Mary were the only two pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with one bullet flintlocks, probably because they didn't know how to use cannons yet. Obviously, two ladies with flintlocks are not going to take on a whole fleet of Navy ships. They get arrested. As they're being arrested, Anne looks at her captain in bow, Calico Jack, and she says, "I'm so sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up on your spirit box's communication devices a lot. The judge wants to see the two men that fought back so valiantly on their own. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunken pirates that wouldn't fight. They're dead and gone. The two ladies go in front and reveal their gender. He doesn't give a shit that they're female. They're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. "We plead our bellies," was the last they shouted, because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging. Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne and brings her back home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4, because we're going to count Mary Read, because we don't really know. And she has 4 kids. Dies at the age of 84. Very abrupt ending, because we don't know much about her after her pirate career. What happens to Mary Read? 5 months later, she dies in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirate attack room in a Jamaican jail. You can use your imagination, even though the books will tell you that it was normally something like fever, something very simple. I say let's make it romantic and call it scurvy. Why the hell not? We're talking pirates. So here's the things I left out of here. I'm not going to assign questions like what we did before. We can poke the bear a little bit here to try to get some answers. So I know you were asking about that, because this is not a prominent English woman. We do not need to tiptoe around her. I had this person screaming blind to me to death. So here's what I left out. I left out the name of Anne Bonny's parents on purpose. That's the father and the mistress. I left out the name of the city where Anne grew up in Ireland. So it's an Irish city. I also left out the name of Calico Jack's ship. So that one I left out on purpose. And the color of her hair, if you need something simple, which is red. I'm going to give you that answer. Everything else is fair game. I can't prove what happened to the child, so if you're going to go after that question, I just can't prove whatever you're hearing is a legitimate answer. So we are going to spread out in this location. EMF detectors. Do not get excited with readings in the front half of this, simply because we have 2 electrical poles and the parking meters on the other side. Again, want to keep those cameras running through the entire duration of this location. Lucas, this wall behind me is not your friend. All those leaves are in front of another leaf, which means you're going to get just a bunch of gobbledygook and somebody waving at you. That's not a real person. It's a bunch of leaves. Don't get excited. But everybody else, let's spread out. Let's get this done. Have we heard anything before we spread out?
Chicken.
Chicken. She's calling you a chicken.
Maybe.
Maybe. Anybody else hear anything? What do you got?
Right when we got here, simply incredible prices. I just thought it was a weird way to say that. And then Alive and Well, Raven, and St. Louis.
The St. Louis piece could be interesting. I want to see what else pops up. So, again, I'm not going to reveal anything until we get something else to verify what's going on with that. That's an interesting piece. But Raven, that's a weird word to hear on the radio. We're getting a lot of weird stuff. What radio station do you listen to?
Whatever comes up.
All right, guys, let's spread out. I'm going to start bouncing around with all of you, but I'm going to give you a few minutes to go ahead and get started. Raven. We got MR. Envoy.
Nick, what does Jana's thing do? All the words that come up, are they all, what are they?
It's listening to the radio stations as well. So
When you say radio stations, what are you saying?
So it is scanning FM stations, and go ahead and go back to the main screen. Yep, so there's the Hertz rating is up here. So
Okay.
it's scanning through all of them, and if it recognizes a word coming through,
So all the FM stations around the area, you're saying?
Yep.
Okay.
that she's familiar with. We've had that camera actually start to act up in here, only at this location. So are you one of my skeptics in my group?
No, I'm not a skeptic. You know,
I want you to question.
I'm like, yeah, like I'd like to see something. Be interesting.
Me too. I can't wait for you guys to get moving. And it is small. If you send us videos, I'll watch one.
This stuff ain't work. Any mysterious people showing up?
No, just yet. I just started it. I'd like to see something.
I don't think so.
It's all BS. I'm provoking.
I feel like he's making this shit up.
Yeah, this thing is whack. This doesn't even mean anything. I'm trying to provoke.
Give me random letters. It's giving me like 80 random letters in a row. I happen to get MR. Can't make this stuff up, guys. UIJ, like what?
Oh, you switched.
I was like, it's literally just letters.
Now, like, well, how do we provoke? I want this car to be lifted up.
That's 7. I have other stuff in my brain. I heard
There's no way I can do this for an hour.
13, 7, Dominican, Thomas.
Stool.
Maybe there's going to be somebody hanging right next to you, Grace.
Stool scene 20. There's like always something in history you can
This would be fun to do with Halloween. Why is it always? I wanna, why is it all these parking lots?
I have a bureau. Bureau.
Let me see. Like the,
I got. She a baddie, she
FBI.
knows she a 10.
So I mean, I was working on piecing some things together for this. He's been working on, but I wasn't live, so I was in there. So but again, that's going to be in the 90-second video. Yeah, it's just not
What do I look like?
red lips.
Let me do. I wish that thing like spelled out like die or something. Like
You probably wouldn't.
like Lucas Clark, go die or something.
Oh,
Something
God.
interesting, bro.
Need a little action.
Yeah.
When do we start provoking?
Let's go stage bank, bro. Come on.
Into this. Lots of questions.
Jenna tried Grace's.
I'm fine. Let's just
Where are you? I want to be in like a house with this thing. Fucking on
I'm trying to like
It's how to be in a
get
parking
some
lot.
like Stearns turn on me or something. Maybe like
It's how to be in a
get a
parking lot.
little.
It's how to be like in a
So
freaking.
here's
Float me
a couple
up
of
and-
little things that I'm excited about. We did get the phrase redhead. I was kind of pretty excited about that because it's obviously we didn't get just the word red. And I don't know if we were asking if it, what her hair color was, but we did get the word redhead. The number 7, well 13 was heard, right guys? 13, the building was finished in 1713, so that's an easy one. The number 7 will show up in one of 3 ways at this location, so I usually wait for a secondary clue. If it shows up in doubles, that's Dr. Ladd's birthday. He was born on July 7th, so it's 7-7. So if we get just a single 7, and we had the name John, did we not? So John Calhoun, who was 7th vice president, is buried on the other side of that wall. So again, we might actually, if I get a 3rd clue, that'll kind of verify that. But the 2 usually, the double 7s usually clarifies for the doctor immediately. And then last but not least, this building served in 7 different wars and 1 rebellion. So if it gives us one of you guys are all, with your data that you're going to get back, you're going to get back all of the image that Bonnie is going to see in real time, plus we're going to review them before we part ways. So that is actually about a 40% ratio of those images that she's going to see are going to be relevant to that particular space. But, yes, ma'am. Who's they?
What I'm saying. Like
Oh,
what I'm
what-
saying is a reaction if I see something.
When you get in there, you're going to tell us what you're seeing.
Oh, like I may say bad words and stuff.
We're all big
Good?
kids here.
Okay,
We got
okay.
this.
Don't judge me if it's something.
We're good. We got this. Trust me, you're going to be just fine. So the 2 of you are basically, when we get to the next spot, you're going to sit on a bench. I'm going to tell the rest of the people the history of the space, so they're all in on what's supposed to happen. So when we come back, I'm going to give you a few tips and tricks of what to expect, and then we're going to go through this motion and see what we can actually get out of it. So you're like, oh my God, what's happening right now? You're like, why was I so good at this? So even for the spectators, this is going to work out either really well or really. So here's what I'm going to take these folks and I'm going to teach them the history over there. We're going to be gone about 5 minutes. We're going to hang on to those. Try to figure out how to open it. So when you can't do it, I'll help you when I get back. These are going to become best used for like 5 minutes. Again, this history is very short. So when we come back, we'll give you a few tips and tricks. We're going to be circled around you just like this. James is going to be filming the entire thing for you because that's going to be the clearest camera shot that you have. You're also not going to know the history until I give you the data back. So I'm not going to repeat the history of what I'm about to tell them over there. So you're going to have to wait for your family members to tell you if it was a legitimate thing or not. Even though, Bonnie, you're going to be able to hear us, you're not going to know why I'm asking the questions that I'm asking. So you're just going to literally tell us what you see inside the case binder. So with your spirit box, we're gonna get you all set up to, you know, kind of see how this goes, and you know, make sure you're at a comfortable level. You're not gonna be touching your spirit box once we get everything on you. You want to make sure you're not messing with volume. We have had teenagers like try to cheat and turn the volume all the way down and literally ask questions that I'm asking deliberately. So again, I like to make sure people aren't messing
Crazy
with the
teenagers.
volume. Yeah, exactly. And I'll say like, hey, what color is
It's
the
like
blue
crazy
bird? And they'll be like,
teenagers.
blue. I'm like, what's my name? Nicholas. You know, like they'll say like crazy things and I'll test them on purpose just to make sure.
We're not those either.
I know, but we all want to know. All right, so you guys sit here for 5. And we'll be back. All right, everybody. The rest of you are going to follow me this way. Rob's getting tired. We got to speed this up. So, any words come up on there, Grace, that I need to know about?
Empty, inside, Savannah, Isabella, Tart, Hope.
Okay. All right, so this history, like I said, is going to be very brief. When we do get over there, here's how this is going to go. We're all going to be huddled around them pretty tight. James, you have the clearest camera, so you're going to be giving, you know, obviously you're going to stand front and center and film the whole thing for them because they're going to want to know how this actually went down, so you're filming it for both of them. And then everybody else is going to be watching their devices. We have gotten triple-digit EMF in these locations, so Chris, on yours too, I want you definitely keeping an eye on it. And as far as the loud spirit box, you're going to keep it on mute, so that way I can focus on what's going on with them. All right, so let's kind of go over why we're here. This is a new space. Every year I change this up. I take out one location and add a new one. And it's after Halloween, so I wait till Halloween and I start researching for a new space. First time I came in here, it's November. It's cold. I only had 2 people that night. The young lady using the spirit box heard the name Henry in the year 1828. Very specific. So it's kind of like, that's weird. I didn't even know what we were going to find because there's a million monuments in here. I was using the digital word generator that Grace is using right now, and I had the name Tim that showed up on that. This bust is Henry Timrod, born in 1828. So I went, holy shit, there's my ghost. So, did a little bit of research. Here's how it goes. He was sick for most of his life. Being born in 1828, well, he was a writer too. You need to know that. He was old enough to go fight in the Civil War, so he goes to fight for the Confederates. Once he gets out there, his comrades realize he's too sick to fight. They send him home. Told him to go be the voice of the war. So they wanted him to go write about what was going on in the battlefield. He comes home to Charleston, he starts writing poetry. He became known as the laureate of the Confederacy, telling people what was going on in the battlefield. A few more years go by, he has a son. His son's name is Billy. He was born on Christmas Eve. He dies 9 months later. Very tragic for him and his wife, Katie. 2 more years go by, and his college friend realizes he's not publishing all the poetry that he's assigned to do for the paper he's working for, and says, go out to my cottage in a little estate in Columbia and finish working on your poetry. He goes out there and writes his last words. His last words are the beholder of brief mortality, person of short life. And he coughs, and it lands on the page in a blood stain, and he dies. Here's what I'm going to tell you about that blood stain. It looks like a man writing at his desk. He had tuberculosis, by the way. That was his sickness. So, and with that said, they show this book one day a year on Halloween at the Charleston Library Society, and you have to be a member to go see it. The internet's beautiful. I'm going to show you all what the page looks like, and then we're going to go talk to Mimi as if she was Henry Timrod. So, kind of get this, I'm going to watch this group, I don't know which way they're going, but let me show you guys this photograph of the last page that he wrote, and we're going to go see if we can get some contact with Mr. Timrod. We'll go right to the left this time. This is the last page. You see what the blood stain looks like, a man writing at his desk. Yeah, James, no shit, right? To me, this whole page tells the whole story of his life. So, beholder of brief mortality, and then he coughs and dies of tuberculosis right on the page. So, again, not everybody tells this piece of history, and if they do, they normally tell it at the Charleston Library Society. I will also tell you that Mr. Timrod is a very shy man. In fact, it's this loud right now, I'm hoping it's going to calm down as I'm giving them their instructions. Because again, he will not give us a whole lot of activity with all of this mess going through us, because we're going to be respectful while we're here. They're not. They're out here on a Saturday night, probably all drunk up. And Chris is like, yeah, I wish I was too. All right, let's go talk to Mimi as if she were Henry Timrod. We're going to go this way. All right,
I know, we got it. I think he probably knows what's going to happen. Okay.
Yeah, it's like 58 degrees in here.
Hold on, don't
58.
All right, so my
Cold
phone,
hearted.
for those of you that are wondering,
My feet are
especially
hot.
for some of you who asked
Yeah,
questions
that-
about some of the tech that we're using out here, my phone actually has a magnetometer in, as does yours. So AI is going to be generated based off of the EMF that my phone is picking up. And that's where the images are going to come from. When we're in an environment like this, we never know what's going to pop up. So far, 42% of the images that have shown up in the past 3 weeks have been relevant to the person that I just told you all about. The other, what is that, 58% have not been, at least to my knowledge. So again, you may see one image, you might see 7. I have no idea how many you're going to see in a 10-minute period. We're only going to keep you 2 under for 10 minutes. I'm going to be watching both of your breathing to make sure. I have had to pull people out of this before because it can be very exhilarating. I will also tell you that the 2 jobs that you guys are doing is meant for one person. I separated it because I normally get people that have never done this before. So you're going to be doing, just imagine, like what you would be doing would be also the spirit box, and you would also be watching the visuals. So again, normally this would go all to one person. I'm doing it to be up this way. It's so funny that you both are wearing one piece. I swear to God, I did not do this on purpose. Biker shorts.
Where are the twins? Who had to wear twins?
I saw it somewhere. Alright, so once I set up my phone, I'll be signing it into your viewfinder, and you're going to have a black smoke background box. So you're going to pull up everything that's not black smoke. So in very simple terms, if you see a park with 7 people in it, just tell me you see a park with 7 people in it. And we're going to see, because she's going to be spitting off things not hearing us. So I want to hear more of her, just a very quick, simple explanation from you. We're all going to be looking at the pictures once we're done. Your spirit box, tell us everything you hear, even yes, no answers. You don't know what I'm asking. I might ask her a ghost if I'm wearing a gray shirt. I'm expecting a yes. If that makes sense.
Okay.
So again, you're going to be telling us everything. If you're too loud, somebody's going to tap you on the shoulder. It's going to be James, because nobody else is going to touch you besides a family member. I might have James move in and tap you on the shoulder if you're too loud. Remember that you need to whisper. If you aren't talking loud enough, he may raise your earmuff and say louder. So that way we can get you raised up a little bit so we can capture on the camera. When it's time to tap you out, he's going to tap you on the leg. That means we're done. So no matter if it's because of you're hyperventilating or anything like that, or the fact that 10 minutes is up. So again, just keep in mind, tap on the leg is done. This means you need to lower it down a little bit. You're going to be able to hear it. It's not a big deal. So again, you'll see. You'll see. And it's not going to be like 3D in your face.
Well, no, like I tried to Best Buy thing on it. It really got me. I'm not gonna lie.
It's not like
Have you
that.
ever done
No,
that?
I have. It's not like that.
Okay, I'm
These
not
are 2D
scared.
images inside of 3D view files.
Okay, that's all.
You're going to be fine. I'm not going to say you're
I'm not, yeah. I just don't whisper.
No, I want you to talk normal. Most people want to shout when they get the headset on.
Yeah.
All right, so do you have anything you're comfortable with? Kind of test your volume for a second because you don't have both earbuds in. I'm going to test to make sure you can hear. Good? Okay, so take that earbud out. Blindfold on. Then earbuds. I'm going to probably have James help you out with the headset, so you may have to set your camera down to the side of her, because those things can be very tricky with the blindfold. Yep. Well, you need the earbuds in first. So you can
Just that little. Okay. I'm not scared.
well, I can give you instructions on how to get started. You want to put that on your head? Anything to say on it? Okay, so now look down. You're going to see a ready button. Hold it there until it fits all the way around the circle. 1055. So now you have 3 circles on the bottom. Okay, so look to the bottom. You have 3 circles. You need the one on the left. You'll say seal. No, you're already in there. So go ahead and look up. Now you're ready to start.
When do I start?
Go ahead and start. Yep, don't get up.
Shingles.
Henry Timrod, I need you to push through and tell us your occupation, please. You know how this works? We're being respectful and quiet, even though the groups around us are not. Please tell us what your occupation is.
That was today.
I know it's a busy Saturday, but I need you to push through. I got 11 folks here that want to learn more about you. James, are you recording? Yeah. Okay. Henry. Push through and tell us your occupation to prove that you're here, please.
Question.
You want to go straight into the questions? You want to talk about your family? Yes, no, yes. Keep an eye on the word list. Who's got the word list generator? Okay, you're watching that too. And who's got the Ouija board?
I do.
Okay, perfect.
We already know. Consultation. Drama on the election cycle. 10,000. Offering. Will be offering. Crowd. Feel like you're fire Saturday morning. Spring.
Okay, so we're going to say goodnight. Can you say goodnight back to us? You're not giving us any answers, nor are you giving us anything.
Four guys. Whoa, cat. CFM.
Very nice. What else is in that picture?
Looks like a tiger. That's it. Car.
Henry, did you have a cat?
Issues that were
Henry, did you have a cat?
to the right.
It's pretty fair to say we need to tap her out. What do you guys think? Not getting a whole lot out of this. You think that lights on it? Bonnie, go ahead.
So, now I'm going to show you the hall of the German Friendly Society of Boston, established in 1766.
We had one answer that was a possibility, but that was also a yes no answer, so I'm not going to really kind of go into that. This is the picture that you saw, everybody, just so you guys have an idea. It's literally a cat face. That means absolutely nothing to me, Henry Timrod, or Dr. Ladd. So you're probably wondering why I was asking about Dr. Ladd here. The home that we talked about back at the alley, 59 Church Street, is literally 0.3 miles this way. So we've been noticing that Dr. Ladd's been slipping through from time to time, like he'll give us things about the house and things about his sister Elizabeth, because she was a big part of his life. So every once in a while we see him kind of slip through, which is why I was asking questions about Dr. Ladd. I don't know if either one of them had a cat, especially that particular color. So again, that cat kind of looks like, what the hell are y'all doing out there, right? Obviously this picture will be in your guys' data set, but I would deem this completely unsuccessful. Again, I know that's disappointing, but I can't make the ghost do anything. And as I've already told the rest of these folks, the person we were looking for does not like crowds or noise. So normally on right, it's been non-stop in here, so I really didn't know how this was going to go. I started with the questions I normally do, and to kind of get them provoked a little bit, we got absolutely nothing. So, unfortunately, so we get any words on there, Grace, that I need to know about besides your name that pops up? You know, through the asterisk method?
Frigid, warm, fight.
Yeah, a whole lot of nothing, right? All right, so this is where I start collecting devices. Did we get any EMF readings at all? Zero. Chris, anything on yours? Where are we at? Over here?
Right.
Oh, okay. We'll take an 11. That's something going on. Again, we've seen up to 167 here. So, again, kind of a light reading, but we'll still take an 11 for sure. Again, with this being completely unsuccessful, I'd like to grab something out of this rotation. All right, so as I collect your guys' devices, I'm going to